child, are you listening? What we got here is that reckoning, and if it feels good, we'll do it again. See your way clear, that reckoning.
Hello and welcome back to Brand X Review's Halloween retrospective, day 4.
Right, now you may remember the last time we talked, Cole was taking the piss out of my mother. Probably wasn't really, was saying your mother wouldn't like. That's the reference. We're going to talk about these in a little bit anyway. But we're talking about this kind of thing, the whole, not expanded universe, but other stuff that kind of surrounds these other than just the films. So I'll let you carry the floor with
Well,
this.
there were a series of games based on Armies of Darkness and The Evil Dead. Bizarrely enough, the first one was on the Commodore Amiga.
Really?
That far back. It
what
was
was
like
it called?
The Evil Dead.
Really? Alright.
Well, actually, I'm not sure if it was Amiga. It was definitely Commodore. It might have been
Commodore
a little
64.
bit before the Amiga, now I think about it. But it was like the Commodore 64 and something else. And there was a bit of like a hoo-ha about it because everybody was like, oh god, it's going to be like really violent. It's going to be like Custer's Last Stand or something, like really like screwed up. And ultimately, reviews at the time were, it's a perfectly serviceable game. And not even the most like sheltered like kid is going to be like offended by this because it is really tame. Apparently, it was quite a good game. You had to defend the cabin and move Ash around to defend the windows. And if Deadites got in, you had to kill them. You had to constantly pick up weapons to restore your health. And that was the game. It was the Commodore. It was really basic. But that was the first one, like back when these films were first coming out. And kind of like the first stage of like, Video Nasty's making its jump to video games. Like, they didn't know what was coming. They didn't even imagine Grand Theft Auto at this point.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at horror games like Nightmare on Elm Street, you're just chasing something around the screen. It's not particularly graphic.
Yeah, they're very, really tame. Then there was Evil Dead Hail to the King, I think it was, the first one, which was on
PS1.
Yeah. Now, I actually had this one, so I can say with authority, it was shit.
I remember it coming out. Was this one of the more like one of the last games of the PS1 before PS2?
It was certainly towards that sort of era, I think.
2000-ish.
Now, she had Bruce Campbell doing the voice for it, which was one of the few good things. The basic plot was he had a new girlfriend and he was still like haunted by his exposure to the Evil Dead. So he basically went back to the cabin to kind of lay it all to rest. Unfortunately, his possessed hand was waiting for him there, which he cut off in the second one. And it plays the recording on the tape play because he left it there, he didn't do anything with it. And the Evil Dead start again and he's like, son of a bitch. Unfortunately, this was basically a Resident Evil clone. It was that kind of top-down controls. And anybody who's ever played a Resident Evil game can immediately know what the problem was. Shitty camera angles. You try and walk across a room, the camera angle switches 4 times. You completely lose track of where you are, how you're moving. Fighting was a pain in the arse. Hit detection was lousy. It was a very mediocre game. I didn't even finish it. I don't even remember getting that far into it. It was just that bad.
That was one thing that was putting me off games around that era because you're controlling a character from there and then all of a sudden you're on the side. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Like I say, if you've ever played a Resident Evil game, you know exactly what the problem was. And this was like at its worst. Resident Evil was... A lot of people complain about it, but it was... You could get through Resident Evil fair enough. This was kind of impossible. You're trying to fight a character that was attacking Ash, and the camera angle would switch 5 or 6 times in the same room, and it's like, how the hell can I fight like this?
Yeah.
Then there was a Fistful of Boomstick, which was PS2, and eventually Regenesis or something like that, which was a bit of a soft reboot. Again, I think that was on the PS2 still. Don't know, it was PS3. I never played either of those 2 games because, to be honest, the first one put me off enough that I didn't really want to bother. As far as I understand it, Fistful of Boomstick did follow on from the plot of Hail to the King. But, yeah, they weren't very good. The last game that I'll mention, there is a fan game called Terradrome, which is kind of a fighting game with a lot of like horror icons like Michael Myers, Chucky from Child's Play, Herbert West from The Reanimator, Pinhead from Hellraiser, all of those kind of things. Freddy, Jason, a lot. And the only like good guy, if you like, unless you count Herbert West as a bit of a good guy, is Ash. Now I don't know if this game's any good. It's a fan-made thing. I considered downloading it, but to be honest, I've got enough things on at the moment that I just didn't have time. And also, when it comes to downloading something like this off the internet, I'm always very wary of downloading EXEs without like doing a bit of research first to make sure it's like not dodgy. So we didn't get around to that. So those are the Evil Dead games. At least to my knowledge. If there's any more, comment in the comments and let us know about them.
I think it was very much like the Escape from New York thing, you know, Snake Plissken. There was talk of an anime movie or an animated movie, similar to what they did with Hellboy. They actually did with Hellboy, where they did some animated stuff.
Yeah, I had both of them. The first one was a bit iffy, but the second one was quite good.
Yeah, I only saw the first one.
Yeah.
Something to talk about later on, maybe. In a different series.
Maybe we'll do a Hellboy retrospective at some point.
Yeah. Now is that it for the games?
Yeah, that's it. Let's talk Total Carnage.
Yeah, this was a magazine in the UK. I don't know if they did it in America as well, but it was.
I'm pretty sure they would have done at least something similar, if not actual Total Carnage.
It was Dark Horse Comics, and they basically sort of published issues of comics. Yeah, things like Batman versus Predator, Grendel, The Mask, which was again before the film came out. The Mask with Jim Carrey. This was '92. It was when I first started. Actually, these issues from '93. But it was when I first started. It was secondary school, so I was 12. So this was pretty much aimed at my age range. So I would say things like that, where it says your mother wouldn't like Total Carnage, but then again we wouldn't like your mother. So that's where you go. And this was something that was pretty much banned in. I'm like, I see my head when I'm talking. Something that was pretty much banned in my household. My sister, who was very kind of. She was older than me, and she was mortified. She thought she was my mother. She was mortified when she saw me reading things like this. I thought it was funny seeing a comic that said, you know, Jesus fucking balls, Jeremy.
Which is actually a phrase that I've heard so many times being your friend, and I have no idea where the hell it came from.
Yeah, he'd like twat me around the back. In fact, do it. Hit me. Jesus fucking balls, Jeremy. Like that, you know. But my sister, I was like showing her, hey Katie, read this, look, I've got this comic, when I was like 11. And she was just, I don't find anything even remotely amusing about Jesus effing balls, Jeremy. And it just became a catchphrase after that. So
yeah, she was a bit of a snob. No offense, Katie, but you kind of
was. No. Anyway, so yeah, that was. I only have like a couple of issues of this left, but you can see that's the kind of stuff they did. So the comics were really kind of appealing to that kind of age range, I guess.
Yeah, unfortunately, I never really got into those. I didn't even know they existed until you told me about this. I mean, I knew about Dark Horse comics in general, like things like Alien vs Predator and stuff, but I didn't know there was a kind of collection one that was over in the UK. I think I was getting 2000 AD, which again was another kind of violent comic book.
Yeah. So
because that's where Judge Dredd used to become from, to give you like an idea of how violent that could be.
Similar thing, really.
Yeah.
But they did other stuff, like you talked about. They spun the comic stuff, because what I read in here was just a graphic novelisation of Army of Darkness, but there was other stuff that came after that. So do you want
to? There have been Evil Dead comics that followed on. The main one that I'm going to talk about is, well, you kind of know about Alien vs Predator, which we were talking about, and that kind of led to the craze of like the verses. It kind of started out with Alien vs Predator, because in Predator 2 there's like an alien skull on the Predator ship, and then like, everybody's like, oh, that'd be so cool. Dark Horse did the Alien vs Predator comics.
Salman Rushdie wrote the Satanic Verses.
No, different thing. Well, let's not go there. We don't want to like.
Yeah, you're going to see my head kind of missing again.
But yeah, it kind of like spiraled from there. You'd have like Superman versus the Terminator and stuff like that. And people were saying like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to have like Freddy Krueger versus Jason Voorhees, like two of the big like horror like franchises, Nightmare on Elm Street versus Friday the 13th. And eventually in the 2000s that actually happened. It was made into a film. It's reasonably entertaining if you've not seen it. I wasn't a huge fan of... I mean, I kind of like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's years and years since I've seen them. I only have vague recollections of the films I have seen. But I did watch Freddy vs. Jason, found it quite entertaining. Now after that, there were rumours that started circulating that they were going to do a sequel to that, or like a follow-on. I said this wasn't just going to be Freddy vs. Jason, this was going to be Freddy vs. Jason versus Ash. Ash being Ashley J. Williams from the Evil Dead franchise. Now, this kind of got bandied around a bit, and everybody got very excited, like, that would be so freaking cool. Certainly in nerd circles. Unfortunately, things fell through, funding wasn't ready, or they couldn't get Pearson to produce it, or for whatever reason, it kind of fell through. However, not wanting to embrace the kind of script and screenplay they had like cooked up for it, they made it into a 6-part comic series instead, still titled Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. It's set sometime after the Army of Darkness. He's back in the normal world. The events of Freddy vs. Jason have happened like a couple of years earlier. Freddy Krueger is still stuck in it's still stuck in Jason Voorhees' head after the end of that film, and he kind of basically talks Jason, like manipulates him with like visions and stuff in his head to go after the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, which is buried at the Voorhees house. It's hinted at in the comics that that's actually how Jason came about, that his mother or father read out a passage from the Necronomicon to like summon the son's like body back. Ultimately, at the same time this is going on, that kind of Kruger's like manipulated Jason. There's a new SMAT opening, and the staff are a bunch of slackers and useless idiots. So they call in the head of the houseware department. They call in Ash to kind of sort them out. Although he's going to the area for his own reasons, because he wants the Necronomicon to like finally lay the Deadites to rest. And what follows is a pretty entertaining romp. It's kind of what you'd expect. High body count, some pretty gory kills. Ash like taking on Jason Voorhees, and eventually Freddy as well, when Freddy like escapes from Jason's head and like starts screwing with people. Very fun, definitely worth a read. There was a sequel, Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, The Nightmare Warriors. Wasn't as much of a fan of that one. It had a lot of characters from the Freddy and Jason franchises in it, which, not being a huge fan of those, they just kind of took away from who the real hero of it was, Ash. So I was kind of a little bit, can we start killing some of these guys off or paring them down or something? Because there's just too many of these characters I don't know and don't really care about. But again, perfectly fun thing. It was another 6-part mini-series. If you can track them both down, they're damn fun reads, and definitely worth like having a look at as part of your like Evil Dead marathon if you were having something like that. Like I say, they follow on more or less from the end of Armies of Darkness, because Ash is noticeably older, which also seems to be a theme in the Ash versus the Evil Dead mini-series or series or whatever it's going to be that's going to be released. Because again, he seems to have the... So I need to work on my cardio because my heart's jackhammering like a quarterback on prom night. Which is a very Ash-like line. But basically he's supposed to be older. He's kind of like over the hill. He's like past his prime. And that was kind of like a bit of a thing in that, because a lot of people like taking the piss out of him because he's like a bit older. However, he still kicks ass, so it's cool. But anyway, we just have tomorrow's instalment.
Yeah, we're going to be reviewing the remake, is effectively what it was. It's kind of a weird situation where
Yeah,
we've got a
I think
remake.
we did like a vague review on it a while back, but we've got a bit more like distance now. We've seen it once, this will be the second time we've seen it.
Yeah.
We're going to be watching it on the trail end of all the other Evil Dead films, and we'll see what our opinion is now, because like I say, things change, tastes change. Sometimes you can watch a film one time and be disappointed because it isn't what you thought it would be, or you think it's better than it actually is, and on repeat viewings, your opinions change, so...
So we're going to watch that again and then review it straight after. So that'll be coming up on Halloween, so that's tomorrow night as you're watching this, as it's going out.
So
anyway.
we're totally going to be doing that on Halloween. We're not going to be doing it a week or two in advance.
No, well, it'd just be kind of soulless.
Yeah, that didn't...
Yeah.
We would never do
No,
that.
no. So yeah, we'll leave it there anyway. So pretty much see you tomorrow night, guys.
See you later.
Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Just so you know, for more news, reviews and retrospectives, you can like our page on Facebook, simply called Brand X Reviews.
But as well as that, you can also subscribe to us on YouTube via this video. You can also bookmark our website, which is brandxreviews.com, which is pretty much a central hub for everything that I've just mentioned. So check that out, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much.